Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a slightly bitter recap on Big Brother 24. I am your host, Slightly Bitter, and I'm here to give you all the tea, all the shade, and all the pink lemonade on reality TV. Now, before I begin this live, I quickly want to ask you all to hit that subscribe button, that share button, that like button, and click that bell so you know whenever I'm going live. Help my little channel grow. I'd appreciate it. Um, so yeah, my setup's a little differently today. I'm coming to you on StreamYard. It's a little easier than my other way of going. Um, Also, I'm dressed up because I am going to be going to the club tonight. So I'm only going to be on here for about 40 minutes, maybe a little longer. But anyways, last time I chatted with you guys, Nicole and Taylor were put on the block, which was a shocker. Well, not really. Well, kinda. And we all basically knew that Officer Angry Nicole was going to go home. Since then, Nicole got evicted, Taylor is safe, and now we are looking at Michael as the new head of household. Spoiler alert if you aren't looking at the feeds. So I'm going to quickly talk about my opinions on the previous episode and what I'm thinking about this upcoming week. Today's topic, we're really going to talk about. They said what fragrance? Today's topic for this episode, we're really going to talk about the leftovers because I'm starting to see some breaks in the leftovers alliance or some cracks rather. And I was saying this in the other live, but I really feel like the leftovers maybe will last one or two more episodes at most. I don't really see the leftovers lasting anywhere past that point. I think we'll see Daniel go home, and then after Daniel goes home, that'll be it. So anyways, let's talk about last episode. So last episode was very showman's heavy. Which I really was not a fan of. The reason why I wasn't a fan of that is Kyle and Alyssa are completely irrelevant, in my opinion, strategy-wise. The only thing relevant about their little love situation is the fact that it's breaking up the leftovers, and that's been a concern for the Leftovers Alliance, and I wish that they would have shown more opinions from people in the leftovers like Joseph and Monty about concern with Kyle and Alyssa's relationship. I mean, there was that scene where Joseph walked in on Kyle and Alyssa talking to each other, and it was kind of just played up for a gag. I feel like the show is so thrilled that they actually got a showmance in there that they're milking it for everything that it's worth. I really don't get why. Just because you have Love Island, you have The Bachelor, you have all these shows that are made for. Let me quickly get my charger and plug this in. Plug it in, because I'm not trying to have this shit die on me. Ooh, there we go. But you have all these different shows that focus on the love aspect. I'm not watching Big Brother to watch two 20-year-olds play summer camp and try to hook up with each other, okay? I don't really care. Kyle and Alyssa are completely irrelevant. But now it looks like Kyle is completely going to turn away from his alliance. I saw that there was conversation on the feeds about possibly taking Monty out this upcoming week. So the eviction comes. And my biggest question leading up to the eviction wasn't, is Taylor going to stay? Is Taylor going to go? We all knew that Taylor was going to stay. But throughout the week, Nicole was very confident that she was going to stay. And my question was, are they going to let her know she's going home, or are they going to blindside the fuck out of her? And I was so disappointed that somebody let her know. I don't know who let her know. I believe it was Kyle. It was someone that let her know. But she got to know that she was going home. And I fucking hate that, man. I want blindsides. Like, it does not matter You do not need to spare Nicole's feelings. She's not going to jury. There's literally, what is Daniel gonna do? Daniel's coming after y'all anyway. And someone like, ugh, they need to just let these blindsides happen. And it just pisses me off that like all these newer seasons, they can't just let a blindside happen. My favorite part of the season so far has been when Amira's ass got woken up by her eviction. I also was really curious if Taylor was going to go forward with her plan to basically take a giant shit on Nicole before flushing her down the toilet. So her speech was the highlight for me. And I really love that Taylor is kind of coming into her own. I feel like we're finally getting to see her have fun in the game and express herself and not have to put a wall up because everyone is jumping on her. And her speech was really fucking funny. I love the Rihanna reference. She said, "You look really dumb right now." And my favorite part about that was you could just see the face crack of the century on Nicole and Daniel throughout the entirety of that episode. Nicole was pissed. She was pissed. And so was Daniel. So Nicole goes home, and I think the cherry on top was Taylor's goodbye message, where she said the same thing that she said to Pooch. Everyone knows the pawn that sits will always go home next to the queen. So there's not really that much else to talk about in the episode, to be honest with you. I was with my friends. We were just talking shit. And most of the episode focused on Alyssa and Kyle. And I just really didn't care. I really don't need to know anything about, as people are calling him on Twitter, they're calling him KK Kyle, which is wild. That was trending today. Did y'all see that? On Twitter, it was trending KK Kyle, which is disgusting to even utter those words out of my mouth. But shit was wild. And on top of that, Nicole's getting her ass kicked in these damn exit interviews. If y'all haven't seen it, check out any one of those exit interviews with Nicole, because it is just bam, 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 bam. They are not holding back. And that's why, again, I want Daniel to get evicted this week so that he can get that same dog pile, because Nicole was bad, but Daniel was the absolute worst. And he needs to get the fuck out, and he needs to answer to all the bullshit that he said throughout the season. And now Daniel, can we talk about Daniel? I really want to talk about these Nicole exit interviews, but I got to talk about Daniel. What does Daniel think he's doing? Daniel really thinks he is the main character in this shit. He was on there being like, "Oh, well, you can't split the prize. Everyone, only one person wins." And it's just like, ain't you the same motherfucker that nominated Taylor the first week because she was the house target, even though you had no issue with her? So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You have no room to be talking, because the only reason why you nominated Taylor was because you were scared of the wrath of the house. Prior to that, you were trying to work with her. But then all of a sudden, you jumped on the bandwagon because Paloma said so. So Daniel can stick it all the way up his loosey-goosey ass. And I don't want to hear it. And there better be no tears left to cry for Daniel being all by himself, because the way that he isolated Taylor with the rest of his posse in the beginning of the game, he can now enjoy that shit. I don't feel any sympathy in my heart for him at all. And he can enjoy his last week in the house. Or I guess it's 5 days left? 4 days left? Who cares? So these Nicole exit interviews. So Officer Angry got it pretty bad, I would say. Y'all came with receipts. I think my favorite one so far has been the Secret Alliance, which is Daniel Reyes and Jason Guy's podcast. I don't think Daniel Reyes does it anymore, though, because I think she disabled her Twitter. I could be wrong. But I saw that it's Jason Guy and Rachel Riley now, if I'm correct. But they had Hannah as a guest, which is hilarious to me, because she and Nicole, that is, were on the feeds talking about how much they loved Hannah. And if Hannah didn't like them, they would just completely lose it, and they would want to, just be done with everything. And Hannah was on that podcast as a guest, just letting Nicole have it, being like, "Why did you say this? Why were you bullying this girl? You said you said that she was flashing her private parts. Why did you say that?" And Nicole just doesn't know what to do. And I realized while watching the interviews, I think the reason why Nicole had it out for Taylor was because the house was jumping Taylor the entirety of the game. But Nicole let it slip that she went to the diary room and she got news about her mom and probably was expecting them to ask her all these questions about her mom and for her to get this sympathy and for her to tell her story and all this stuff. But all they did was ask her about Taylor and be like, "Why are you guys mistreating her? Why are you doing this? Why are you guys doing that? Why are you guys outcasting her? Don't you think it'd be a good idea?" So the jealousy formed there where she couldn't get a segment about herself. And she realized in that moment, I am not the main character of this story. Taylor's the main character. And I think that's where the resentment started because she mentions in the interview, go look back at the interview, she let it slip that that she went to the diary room expecting to talk about her mom, and the diary room instead asked her about Taylor. And I don't really know how to feel about that because in my head, it makes me feel like, did the diary room kind of set Taylor up by asking so many questions about her? I'm really curious. And again, that's why I really have an issue with Big Brother in some parts because I feel like they ask them questions that kind of give them a peek into what we're thinking. It gives them a peek into what the audience perceives them as. And I think everyone knew in the house, we talked about this on the last one, everyone in the house has to know that no one is here for the mistreatment of Taylor. I personally think it's the reason why the leftovers was formed. I think the people in the leftovers realized, yeah, we're probably wrong here from leading questions in the diary room. But yeah, I give Nicole absolutely no credit. But I saw her crying and she said that she was worried about her mom dying. But then again, this is the same woman that swore on her mother's cancer. I forgot who she did it to. I believe she did it to Brittany and Michael. So it's just like, I can't take anything you say seriously because how are you going to, in one breath, cry about your mother, but in the other breath, swear on her cancer? I don't know about y'all, but I don't test fate like that. Maybe it's just a Jewish thing, but in my culture, and I'm pretty sure I can't be the only one, but you know how some people will call out of work because they have a family member that's sick or they have a family member that dies? In our culture, when you put shit out there like that, it happens. So for me, if I have a family member that's sick and I'm going to swear on whatever sickness that has, that's me putting out there that I want it to get worse. So Nicole has absolutely no respect for me. And again, what I think she should do is take all of this in, realize that she's fucking wrong. When Taylor gets out of the house, when she wins, has a conversation with her, then has a conversation with everyone, and then logs off. We don't need her to be an influencer. We don't need to hear her takes. We don't need her to make a podcast. We don't need her on Amazing Race. We don't need nothing from you. Go back to being a shitty chef, making your shitty food, and to your shitty life. We don't need you. Okay? And that's no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. It is what it is. Is anyone really clamoring to see more of Nicole? Like, really? Also, can they stop casting Nicoles? They need to stop casting Nicoles and they need to stop casting Kyles. Because every damn Nicole and every damn Kyle they cast on this show sucks. So anyways, let's talk about Kyle. And I'm not going to be using that nickname that was being used because I am not even going to give credit to that fucking group of people. But Kyle. So on the feeds, after the eviction, Kyle has already been really paranoid. He doesn't want to go on the block, which we talked about this on the last one. If you have an alliance member that just went on the block 3 out of 4 weeks, and you're not willing to go on the block 1 week, when out of everybody in the whole house, Kyle would be the most safe on the block. Think about it. Kyle's got Alyssa, and he's got the leftovers. And if you have Alyssa, you probably have Indy. I do not see Kyle being in any danger this week if he's up against Daniel. There's no possibility that it could flip. I understand not wanting to go on the block, but in this scenario, you're in an alliance. You need to do what's best for the alliance, especially when you just had an alliance member go on the block 3 out of 4 times. And he's talking about some, well, Taylor would be fine with it. No. So Kyle has a conspiracy theory that all of the minorities in the house are working together. Now, he didn't say that specifically, but the reason why he's getting heat is because he practically named off every single black person in the house and said they were working with each other. He said, who did he say? He said Terrance, Monty, I believe he put Joseph in there. He had Taylor in there. Damn near, he said every non-white person in the house, he said, was working together. And people are now being like, okay, well, it's obvious because he's been trying to put this theory out there forever. And my thing is, last season when we had the cookout, the boot order was practically all of the white people went home before the jury phase. This season, every person on the block except for Pooch has been a minority. So the argument that there could be a POC alliance or whatever type of alliance he's trying to say is ridiculous. It is ridiculous because the nomination set would not look how it looks right now. And again, I really hate whenever any group of people gets linked up to work together just because they look similar or they have one thing similar to them. Because there has never been a time in the history of Big Brother that a group of white people have been grouped together and people have said, oh, they must be an alliance. Never has happened in the history of Big Brother, at least this early on in the game. So it just really bothers me. And I had high hopes for Kyle because Kyle was one of the founding members of the Leftovers. And I felt like Kyle had something strategic that he could do in the game. But ever since he started linking up with Alyssa, his shit has just been off the fucking... like, I don't know what he's thinking in that little pea-sized brain of his. What is going on there? So Kyle has made a complete 180 on the fan spectrum. So now no one is fucking with him. And it looks like he might flip on Monty this week. So Michael won the head of household, which... I don't know what Michael is doing, and I don't know why nobody is trying to target him. Because at this point, Michael has won 4 competitions. He's won 3 vetoes and an HOH. That's intimidating. And if I was in that house, I'd be like, okay, when we have a double eviction, Michael has to go. How many competitions have they had so far? They've had 8, right? This is week 5, so they've had 9 competitions. He's won 4 out of 5 of those competitions. And think about it, there were mini competitions to qualify for HOH. And he won both of them. Michael is the comp beast of the season. And I think people are overlooking it in that house because if you looked at Michael, you wouldn't think he's a comp beast because he's this skinny, nerdy guy. So when you look at him, you don't think, oh, he's going to be the comp beast of the season. But you got to look at the numbers. He's winning the shit. He's winning quadruple what these alpha males are winning. But nobody seems to want to go after him. It's just really bizarre to me. But I am fearful for Michael that once we get down to the jury phase, once we're down to maybe the top 10, top 9, top 8, somebody's going to take that shot at him. I think the best thing that could happen for Michael this week is for his plan to work and for Daniel to leave. Because from what I've seen, the only people in that house that have even uttered Michael's name to go was Daniel and Nicole. Everyone else seems to be either stuck on Taylor or stuck on Monty or stuck on wherever else they're looking. But I'm a little worried for Michael. So this week they decided that they wanted to backdoor Daniel and Kyle. And I got to admit, I'm getting kind of annoyed and over this whole backdooring thing because it's literally just been the strategy every single fucking week for the past 3 weeks in a row. I guess skipping Pooch's elimination, it's really been the strategy every single week. They did it to Taylor the first week, and then week 3 they did to Amira, then they did Nicole. So it's getting a little stale, and I think backdooring is a little overused. But in this situation, I get it, because if you nominate basically your entire alliance, at least one of you is going to decide to use that veto. Very likely veto will be used. It's just the way this is set up is really weird to me. I feel like the way the duos thing should work, if you're going to have a joint win and you're not just going to let one person win it, they should either have to agree or there's a penalty. That would make it a little more interesting, because I remember when Janelle and Jace won the first head of household back in All Stars, the deal was if they didn't agree on who to nominate, they became the nominees. And I'm not necessarily saying that it needs to be the case with the veto, but I don't know, maybe if they can't agree, there's a wheel to decide what happens with the veto. So, I don't know, something to shake shit up, because it just seems kind of lame that one person in the pair or in the trio in this situation could be like, nah, I want to use the veto. Fuck you. Doesn't matter. It's kind of bullshit, because I mean, it was an effort. Both of you should have a say in what the veto is used on, but whatever. So in this situation, I feel like backdooring really is the only way to get out your real target, because more than likely veto is going to be used. And if we look at this season so far, 3 out of 4 weeks the veto's been used. So I don't know. So they decided that they're going to nominate Joseph and Monty and Terrance for eviction. Now, the thing with Terrance is that Terrance is being a little rat. And I'm so confused by Terrance's game. And it just makes me so mad that they cast all of these older house guests that don't know shit about Big Brother and don't know how to play. Because there are some amazing older potential house guests out there that watch the show, that know the gameplay, and could kill it. But it just seems like Big Brother likes casting these old people, and I really don't want to say old, because Terrance is not that old. Terrance is in his late 40s, early 50s. I mean, that's old, but like not that old. So I hate having to say old. Listen, Jerry, old man Jerry, 75 years old, that's old. But I wish there were more strategic older people in the house, because to my recollection, the only strategic older people, and when I say older, I mean 40 plus, that I can think of is Evil Dick. Every other older house guest has like either been a flop or dragged to the end or like first boot, and it's disappointing. I'd like to see more strategic older people. But Terrance is just being a rat, and you know, not every week of Big Brother has to be go, go, go. I feel like when you're in a game like Survivor, where you're always at risk and you always have to be worrying about getting voted off, you have to always actively be playing and trying to figure out where the vote is, directing where the vote is to make sure you're safe. But in Big Brother, it's different. In Big Brother, there are weeks where you have absolutely nothing to do. Either vote with the house, try to change the target, or campaign to stay if you're on the block. But Terrance, like, you have had nothing to worry about. The first week you may have been on the block, but you were never going home in either situation. The third week, I get it, because you had no idea that Amira was the actual target in the beginning. But last week, you were good. You had immunity. There was no opportunity for you to even touch the block. Sorry, this fan is like putting my hair on my face. But Terrance is just like, Daniel, they're trying to backdoor you, Daniel. So you got to win and not use it. And it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? If I'm correct, I think he actually was the one that spoiled the blind side to Officer Angry. And it's just like, why? When you're in a position like Terrance, all you need to do is chill. Chill, be the cool uncle, be Uncle Terrance, the DJ from Chicago, and just chill and like be a cool dude, vibe with people, and you'll make it really far in the game. Like, Terrance just doesn't have to do shit, but he's doing way too fucking much. And it's disappointing because I really want to root for Terrance. I always want to root for the older house guest, but man, he just sucks. And now this week he's trying to get himself evicted. So he wants the veto not to be used. He wants the veto to be discarded and for him and Monty and Joseph to be on the block. So here's where it gets interesting, because since there's 3 of them on the block, there's only going to be 8 votes this week, if I'm correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 8 votes. So where the votes lie right now is you got Alyssa, Daniel, Indy, and Jasmine, who are all going to vote together. And this is if the nominations stay the same. Then you've got Turner, Taylor, and Brittany that are all going to vote together. So it's 4-3. And then you got Kyle. And Kyle is worried about there being a POC alliance. And I hate even using that term. But basically that's what he's saying. A Cookout 2.0. And he could easily flip and vote Monty out, because that seems to be the person they want to get out. So either he's going to stay loyal to the alliance and vote with them and it ties and goes to Michael, or he flips and shit goes haywire. And I really don't like that. Like, listen, I did not like Monty in the beginning of the game, but I've started to really like him as a player. And if he were to go and for like Terrance and Daniel and fucking Jasmine and Indy to all make it to jury, that would just be so gross. I'm kind of at a point where I want the leftovers to be at least in control of who wins. If all 7 of them are in that jury, they're the ones that ultimately will decide who wins the game, if at least 2 of their people are in the final 2. I just don't want all of those gross people in that jury phase. I'm kind of at a point where I feel like Alyssa is the biggest threat socially on that side, but I don't really mind Alyssa as much as I mind Daniel and Jasmine and Indy. And it's just like, I want at least one more of them to go home pre-jury. And then if they have to make a move, it is what it is. But I feel like next week, shit is going to go down. And the leftovers need to take Kyle's ass the fuck out, because he is not loyal. All they needed to really prove that is the fact that he went from 1 week being like, okay, Alyssa needs to go, I'm fine with Alyssa leaving, whatever, to the very next week, oh, we can't get rid of Alyssa. I don't want to see Alyssa go. And also, I don't want to sit on the block, whatever. I personally feel like when you're in a game like Big Brother, Vanessa was all about, oh, I need a reason to put someone up. Bitch, I don't need a reason. If I get a bad feeling about you, you need to go on that block and go home. You know, I've done these online versions of Big Brother, and my biggest mistake has always been having a bad feeling about people, but letting them stay because I felt like I didn't have a valid reason to put them on the block. No, if someone is doing something in the game where you feel like they're not going to be loyal to you down the line, you need to cut them. Because you don't need to worry about Jasmine, you don't really need to worry about Indy, and you don't really need to worry about, I was going to say Alyssa, but you kind of have to worry about Alyssa, but not as much as Kyle. If Kyle's gone, Alyssa's not going to know what the fuck to do. So I feel like they should get Daniel out this week, because he's the one that can win the competitions for that side of the house. Get him out, let Terrance and Indy and Jasmine run around with their heads cut off. And then next week, when that twist is done, you put Kyle and Alyssa on the block and blindside the fuck out of Kyle. Just blindside the fuck out of him, because at some point, that motherfucker's not going to be loyal to you. He's not going to be loyal to you. Even though Daniel wanted to use the veto, I still would be looking at him sideways, because you just know he was thrilled at the fact that Alyssa didn't have to go on the block. So, oh my god, they said blindside Butterbean. I'm fucking dead. But yeah, I'm just at a point where I can't really fuck with Kyle. I can't really fuck with Kyle. Oof. So ultimately, I do feel like Daniel is going to go home this week. I would be shocked if anything else happened. Uh, I feel like it's just a slam dunk. Joseph or Monty have to win this. I am curious though, how is this veto going to work with 3 people? Because they've been doing everything in pairs. So are they going to do this competition like, okay, 2 of you compete, but 1 of you has to sit out? Because I'm thinking it has to be something like that. In that situation, they could just be like, okay, Terrance, you're sitting the fuck out. Because in what situation would you put Terrance in there unless you're throwing it? But yeah, I think this is going to be a really easy week. Daniel goes on the block, and it is what it is. But if Kyle and Daniel get picked, that's where it's going to get a little tricky. So if Kyle and Daniel get picked and then they win it, I don't think they're going to use it. I don't even think Kyle would use it, because at that point, who are they going to nominate? Are they really going to be like, okay, we're gonna get out Miss Butterbean? Because I don't feel like they're gonna want to take out Butterbean over Terrance. So I don't know, but hopefully that doesn't happen, because I'm just waiting for Daniel to go home. I swear to God, I'm gonna be celebrating. I'm gonna be partying until I'm purple. Like, Daniel might be one of my least favorite house guests of all time. Controversial pick, but Paul is one of my least favorite house guests of all time. And I'm talking about Paul season 18 and season 19. I didn't like him on either season. But Daniel definitely definitely is in that top 2, top 3 situation. Because on top of just being a complete and utter asshole, he's a flop. He's an attention seeker. He's got main character syndrome all day, every day, like a motherfucking holiday. He really thinks he's Janelle. You are not fucking Janelle. You are Raven Walton. That's who you are. But anyways, I gotta say my favorite part about this phase of the game has been that Taylor is in the best spot in the house right now. She's in the best spot. I agree with you, Bernadette. I can't stand Daniel. Fuck Daniel. But Taylor's in the best spot of everyone in the game. She's got Michael that wants to take her to the end of the game. Brittany wants to take her to the end of the game. Who else? Joseph wants to take her to the end. Monty wants to take her to the end. No one's really looking at Taylor as being an immediate target. I feel like Taylor might be able to go through not the rest of the game, but probably a good 4 or 5 weeks without having to touch that block. And I know that everyone wants to see Taylor win ahead of Household, but I don't really feel like Taylor needs to win an HOH. Right now, people don't really see her as a competition threat. I feel like Taylor's in the place where she can just let Michael win that competitions, let Joseph win some comps, let Monty win, let them get the blood on their hands, let them become the targets, and then once you're at the end of the game, then you can turn it up. I feel like so far Taylor has the best shot at winning of anyone in that house if she's in that final 2. How can you not give this woman the win when she was the target from the very first week all the way until week 4, and she just kept on surviving? I don't even feel like if they did evict her the first week, she would have went home. I think she would have picked Paloma and whooped Paloma's ass in whatever challenge they gave her. Did you see her on that balance beam challenge or whatever it was, the obstacle course? She ran through that shit in like 2.2 seconds. So I don't think Taylor was going home in that situation. She has one of, if not the best underdog story in the history of the show. And I really, really want to see her take home the win. I think the only downside to Taylor winning the game is that we have to give America's Favorite to someone else, because I don't believe they allow the winner to get America's Favorite. I could be wrong. They might still give it out. I know it used to be America's Favorite Juror, but now they changed it to America's Favorite Player. So if Taylor wins, I listen, I'm still voting for her regardless. So I hope that they would still let her get America's Favorite on top of being the winner, because there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Taylor is the favorite of the season. No one else is even in the same time frame. Like, I remember I saw a tweet where it was like, retweet if you're a fan of whatever house guest, Taylor had like 10,000 or something like that, and everyone else had like barely making it in the hundreds. I think Daniel had like 2 people, which was hilarious. But I don't know who they would give it to. If it isn't Taylor, I feel like maybe Michael might take it, maybe Brittany. I don't know, but I'd rather Taylor take home the win. That's really, I'm kind of at a point where I think I saw someone in the YouTube chat say it, where they said I'm just rooting for Taylor. I'm at a point where I just want Taylor to win. I think if it wasn't Taylor that won, I'm at a place where I would like to see a Brittany win potentially, or a Michael win. Shit, I can't even believe I'm saying this. I wouldn't be mad if Turner won. I don't know if anyone else disagrees with me. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I'm at a point where I wouldn't mind if Turner got the check. I think if I had to do an order, I would say Taylor's first, big ass gap, Brittany, Turner, and then Michael. Michael just needs to, step it up a little bit, because there's points in this game where I've forgotten that Michael is even in there. No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. But like Michael, like what is he even doing in the game? I'm not sure where he stands. I know that he said that he wants him, Taylor, Brittany, and Butterbean in that final 4, probably with the intention of taking Brittany with him to the end. I hate to say it, but I feel like Brittany at this point is not going to win if she's in a final 2. There's just some players that have this persona in the game where they're not going to be respected if they're in that final 2. And I feel like that's something that's generally understood. Like, I feel like if Brittany was in the end, or if Terrance was in the end, or if Butterbean were in the end, I don't know if their chances of winning are really that great. And, we're only 5 weeks in, so you can't really say that. A lot of people spring to life in like the last 2-3 weeks of the game. But if we're just speaking right now, I'd say like Butterbean is at the bottom. Terrance is right above that, and then maybe Brittany. So I feel like Michael wants to take those 3 to the end because he feels like they'll be the easiest beats. You can take out Butterbean pretty easily, and then just sit next to Brittany and then probably win the whole thing. I know everyone's saying that the house is not going to let Butterbean get to the final 3 or get to the final 2. I don't know about that, because it seems like pretty much everyone has Jasmine in their end game. Pretty much everyone is talking about having Jasmine be there in the top 4, top 3. I can't really say I blame them, but at the same time, Jasmine's another person that you can't base your opinion on them just by looking at them. Again, I feel like people are underlooking Michael because of his appearance, because he doesn't have the face of someone that would be a comp beast. But you got to look at Butterbean. Butterbean qualified for both of those 2-part head of household competitions. She was the first person to find a damn letter, and she did that obstacle course. And then she ended up winning the whole HOH. So even though she's not physically the strongest person in the game, she can win a competition, and she's got some type of luck on her side. You don't want someone in the game that can even potentially win a competition. So far, the person in the house with the lowest win equity has been like an Indy. Indy's been the person that's been the furthest away from winning any type of comp. Or, oh my God, I totally forgot about DJ Terrance. DJ Terrance and Indy have been the ones that have been the furthest away from a comp win. I feel like I'm kind of at a point where I would rather take like Terrance or Indy to the finals rather than a Butterbean. So I don't know. Have I gotten a text yet? I'm still waiting to go on the go out to the club tonight. I'm very excited, but I still have not gotten a text. They're probably still at the golfing place. I could see Joseph getting it. Oh, for America's favorite. I could see I forgot about Joseph. I could see Joseph getting America's favorite for sure. I would vote for Joseph. I totally forgot about him. Joseph is another person that I wouldn't mind seeing get the win. I didn't even think about him. He's been really loyal. He's just been a good guy. He was one of the first people to stand up for Taylor. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Joseph winning. I think the only thing is I I don't really want to see another athletic alpha male win the game. I feel it because it's been the same fucking person every season, man. Like, I'm gonna count Casey in this. No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade, but it's been the athletic alpha person in the house. You got Casey, you got Mickey Mouse, then you got Cody, and then you got Xavier. You're 4 for 4. So I'm not really here to see a fifth one win it in a row. But if Joseph won, I would not be mad at it, especially since he's the second Arab person to be put in the game, which is ridiculous in my opinion. I gotta say that I appreciate that they are casting more diversely. I think it's ridiculous that it took them a mandatory thing for them to start doing it. I feel like they should have always been doing this. Like, it's so ridiculous. That's why I give kudos to Big Brother Canada, because Big Brother Canada has always been relatively good with casting diversely, but like it feels like they're not even trying to be diverse because there is such little Asian representation on the show, whether it's East Asian, Middle Eastern, South Asian, and I feel like the show is really lacking on that. And I want to see more Asian contestants on the show. So it would be nice to see Joseph, who is a Middle Eastern person, win the game, not only for his personality and his strategy, but also as a representational thing. Because so far, it's only him and Kaser. Hopefully, after this season, they do start to cast more Middle Eastern and Asian people on the show. Because being diverse, like, I just feel like Big Brother could be doing a lot better. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Um, but anyways, I don't really know what else there is to touch on for this week. This is just a quick little recap. So the episode was meh. The target this week is Daniel with potential for Terrance. I'm looking forward to seeing what is going on in Kyle's head in this upcoming episode because I've really only seen a couple of tweets, and I'm not sure if he is becoming a full-on traitor yet. Does he have any real allegiance left to his alliance, or is he really just going to turn on it because his ass is paranoid about going on the block? But we'll see. We'll see. I feel like either way, the leftovers will succeed with or without him. I feel like Joseph and Monty have a pretty good hold on their alliance to where Taylor and Brittany and Michael, etc., won't flip on them. And you know what? If they do, they could easily go over to Butterbean or to Indy or to one of them and reel them in or do whatever the fuck they got to do. If Kyle really flips on this alliance, it's a losing battle. It is a losing battle because if Daniel goes home this week, you got nothing backing you up, Kyle. Absolutely nothing. And I hope that Monty and Joseph and the rest of them see what Kyle is doing and they end that problem next week. Because as soon as this festy bestie shit is over, if I was HOH, whether Kyle's in the alliance or not, Kyle and Alyssa, you're going on the fucking block. No ifs, ands, or buts. Because they're already talking about getting married, having kids. Nope. On the block. And it is what it is. And then you can decide, do you send home Kyle or do you send home Alyssa? Personally, I would send home Kyle. Just because, again, Kyle's archetype has won this show 4 seasons in a fucking row. Do you want to make it a 5th season? I don't think so. So he can take his ass packing, go back to the Mormon church, and have a good fucking day. Okay, so who is my winner pick? I'm locking in on Taylor. I've been on Taylor full force. I was so mad that when I did the little draft pick with my friends at Silent Podcast, that they took Taylor before I even could. Taylor is a friend of my friend Raven, so I'm always going to support my friend's friends, and Taylor has just been my favorite person to watch this season. She's been delightful. She's been strong. She's had to put up with a lot of bullshit, and she has a great personality. Like, ignoring all of the bullshit that has happened, Taylor is just a great person. I saw someone tweet earlier, and it really pissed me off. I saw someone tweet, "Oh, if Taylor wasn't mistreated, no one would be obsessing over her." I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about, but this is not a Jess and Cody situation. I personally feel like if Jess and Cody didn't get isolated on BB19, the fandom would not like them. But Taylor, absolutely not. Taylor has been so much fun to watch. She has a great personality. She's fucking funny, and she's just a likable person. To be honest, that speech alone that she made against Nicole won me over. I could have seen nothing for the whole season and just loved her for that eviction speech alone. So my bets are on Taylor, and I'm not swaying on that shit. I didn't sway on Xavier from the jump last season. And then with Erica and Marianne, I picked them before Survivor, so I'm on a roll. I also had I picked Azza for my female, and I had Xavier for my males, and that was the longest lasting female and the longest lasting male. So I feel like I got my thumb on the pulse. So right now, Taylor's my pick to win. I feel like she's in the best spot in the house, and she's gotten over the hurdle. So now I feel like the rest of the season, it's not going to be easy, but it'll be an easier time for her. She, you know what? Sandra Diaz Twine said this: if you can get your feet wet, you'll soar. And I feel like she got her feet wet, and now she's in her alliances, and she can do the damn thing. If she doesn't win, I'm gonna say Joseph's gonna take it. Shit, I'm not gonna back down on Brittany, even though I said Brittany's probably not gonna win it. Brittany reminds me of my friend Heather with those fucking crazy eyes every episode. So my top three is gonna be Taylor, Joseph, and Brittany in that order. And we'll just have to see what happens with this week. Before we go, I'm gonna look through the comments really quick. Oh, hey, Miss Price, how you doing? Okay, so we got Miss Price in the comments section. We got Savage Evan. We got Deshaun. We got Rich. We got Aaron, John, Freya. We got some people in my audience. We got V, Ola, Bernadette, Daya, Turkey, Lipstick. So yeah, before I close this out, I wanted to say thank you to everyone that has been tuning in. I've been noticing that we've been getting a lot. We jumped up a lot of subscribers since my last episode. We're at 1.6 thousand on YouTube, which is crazy because I've been stuck at 1,500 for the longest time. So thank you to everyone that recently subscribed to my YouTube channel. We had 3.1K on the last recap thing, which was insane. I wish the space was a little bigger just because we had a great Twitter spaces the other day while I was at work. Ola was there for it. We just had a lot of people, and it was a great conversation. Obviously, it's really late, and I'm going to get my party on in a little bit. So I would love for us to have another Twitter spaces. So I think the next time I'll go live will be... My days off are... I'm off on Sundays, so... But honestly, depending on how turnt I get, I might call off tomorrow. Listen, if I get a little too turnt, I might have to just call off, and someone else might have to roll the toll booth. So if I call off tomorrow, I'll do a live tomorrow. If not, I probably will do a live on Sunday, either before the episode or after the episode, especially since I'm going to be off. But I really appreciate y'all coming out. It's been a great time. And if you're not following my Twitter, please follow my Twitter at slightlybitter with an AH, because I just love doing the little streams, the little Twitter spaces. And we had a great Twitter space the other day that was recorded. So if you want to watch it back, it's on my Twitter account. Maybe I'll try to upload the audio to the YouTube so you guys can see everything that we were talking about. Before I go, if I do have any questions from the comment section on the YouTube page, you can quickly shout it out. And if you're on my Twitter, you can send a message to the reply section, and I'll quickly read it out. I'd love to have a conversation, but I do have to leave in about 5 minutes or so. Bernadette said, I absolutely love you. You're so real. Have fun and be safe. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Bernadette. Thank you for coming. I've been seeing you in a couple of the streams. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Oh, I see. Brianna said have a good time. Deshaun said have a good time. Evan said the beginning of the show was so ass, but now it's one of the best. I do have to say I agree with you. I think I said this. I don't think I said this on the last stream. I think I said this when we were in the space yesterday, that I feel like this is kind of a reverse Big Brother 20. Big Brother 20 had an amazing pre-jury phase of the game, but then everything went downhill once Bailey got evicted, then Rockstar. It all went downhill during the jury phase. This season, I feel like the pre-jury was really weak because it was just filled with toxic hate for Taylor. And now we're in the jury phase. I feel like the jury phase is going to get really spicy. I feel like they're going to turn on Kyle. Maybe the boys are going to turn against each other. I don't know. I think shit's going to really go down. So I thought the season was going to be shit, but I'm not going to lie. Like, this season has been pretty good. It's such a shame that all that Taylor bullshit went on in the beginning with Paloma and Daniel, because I feel like if that stuff didn't happen, this season would not be getting all the hate it's getting. It's just, like I said, Daniel and Paloma were the moldy ass blueberries in the blueberry patch, and they fucked up the whole thing. Ola said, have fun. Let's see how messy the leftovers make this week. Oh, absolutely, Ola. Listen, I already know for a fact that we're going to have a lot of shit to talk. We're going to have a lot of shit to talk at the next space, because I already know shit is going to be going down, especially if the people who get picked for veto are the people I think are going to get picked for the veto. Aaron Hughes said, next time I get money, I'll have to donate. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Aaron. That's so sweet. And just a reminder for everybody before I close this out, I Love Money Season 11, my reality show similar to Big Brother, will be premiering. We're looking at Thursday for being the premiere date. That might have to be switched. I'm just going to say this because she ended up dropping. We actually were supposed to have Sheila Kennedy from Big Brother 9. She was supposed to be a contestant, but unfortunately, she's having some health problems. So I just wanted to quickly put out there, everyone, please, I'm not a religious person, but put some prayers out there, some good thoughts, and some love for Sheila, because I don't know what's going on with her, but she's been a good friend of mine for years. We used to do recaps for Big Brother all the way back in season 22, and I'm really worried about her. So please send Sheila Kennedy all the love that you can. She's a sweetheart. I wish that she could have played maybe another time in the future. But I just wanted to put that out there. Please send her all the love that you can. I'm hopefully going to check in with her sometime next week. Do a second chance season. I might, Evan. I might do a second chance season at some point. Maybe after the. I mean, listen. Last season with Heather and all that shit, Heather was a little too crazy. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna close it out. Have a good night, everybody. Make sure to stay tuned and to stay bitter. Bye, everyone.